Hey, I'm Ryan James. I'm here in Crowley, Louisiana. I'm Baptist Collegiate Ministry Director at LSU Eunice campus. So naturally, taking this church planning class, I directly apply that to college students and say, how does this work on the campus for students? Um, so really, the topic I'm going to dive into today is collegiate church planting. A new perspective in church planting that's becoming, I believe, the most effective way to reach college students, gaining a lot of steam in NAM and from people like Brian Fry, Collegiate Collective. So there's a lot of people talking about collegiate church planting. So we're going to dive in and really see what it is and how it works today. Um, so Currently there are over 20.7 million collegians in the U.S. and Canada, and many of those attend universities with little or no evangelical witness. Primarily think of the Northeast, the Northwest Canada, very underserved areas as far as gospel witness. And this is by far not only North America's largest mission field, but also the most available. You think of big cities, you think of small rural towns. All of them have some sort of university nearby, whether a large four-year esteemed university or public or private schools, two-year schools, community colleges, VOTEX, anything. So a lot of various contexts in the college campus world. Um, so while many great organizations like Baptist Collegiate Ministry, like Christian Challenge, like Crusade or Cru, and countless other ministries are reaching hundreds of thousands of students, there's still a huge need, especially in these kind of regions, the Northeast and the Northwest in Canada, for faithful gospel witness to reach and disciple students. So I think collegiate church planning is the answer to that, and we'll kind of frame this presentation through the missional helix, the four kind of quadrants. So looking at the first part, we'll talk about the theological reflection, why the college campus is theologically ripe for the harvest. Next, we'll look at cultural analysis, why the college campus matters. We'll kind of glance at the historical perspective and see how the college campus has been engaged in the past. And then we'll talk about our strategic plan of how do you plant a church among, through, with college students, primarily made up of college students, these very flighty people who don't have a lot of money. So let's go ahead and dive on in. But before we do, here's some examples of collegiate church plants that are around the U.S. that are, taken off. I encourage you to look these churches up. Their websites, so just Google them somewhere. The first one we'll look at is Resonate. In its first 8 years, it's had 400 baptisms in 4 campuses spread from western Oregon to eastern Idaho. Just a great, healthy example of a church plant. Next is the Salt Company, which is actually a BSU, Baptist Student Union, turned church plant. Some students from that BSU graduated, planted a church called Cornerstone, and out of Cornerstone, their college ministry, the Salt Company, reaches over 1,200 students at Iowa State. So huge impact there. College Cornerstone is made up of over half college students. Grace Point Fellowship, founded by Grace Point Berkeley, probably an older collegiate church, based out of Berkeley, moved San Diego, 9 churches on the West Coast, 1 in Austin, Texas, and 1 in Taiwan. So they're pretty far-reaching and pretty much were the pioneers in this movement. And one of the newer collegiate churches on the scene, H2O Church, I think it started in Bowling Green, and now it's exploding all over the Midwest, currently on 8 campuses. I've actually had personal contact with these guys through For Columbus last year with the crossover. Really a great church doing great things for college students. So looking at our first quadrant of the missional helix, theological reflection, why the campus is ripe for the harvest. Well, first off, I think we have an imperative to go to the campus through the Great Commission, Matthew 28:18. Jesus says all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to him. He says, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. The nations are at our doorsteps. They're flocking to our universities. The unchurched, those coming from foreign countries, coming to our universities, and we have them here for at least 4 years. So such a great chance to reach folks that we often overlook. It's literally the university is the gateway to the world. Next, I think church planting is theologically good soil to plant a church. You look at Paul in Athens in Acts 17, verses 16 through 34. He went very pluralistic culture, reflects, I think, Athens then reflects a lot of our modern universities, and we can just be like Paul and hang out at Mars Hill. He reasoned with those folks. He was in their marketplace, their kind of common area, and through relationships and connecting with folks and kind of doing this cold style evangelism, he penetrated into the Areopagus, to this very selective group of folks, and was able to preach the gospel and win some converts for Christ and eventually plant a church out of that. Great theological framework for church planting on college campuses. Also, thirdly, it's the most strategic mission field on earth, and it's easy to replicate. Huge sending capacity, a ton of people coming in and going out all the time. So moving on to cultural analysis. Why does the campus matter? For 3 reasons. First, because of who they are. These are the top 1% of the world population. They're the influencers who are going to influence culture in the direction it's going to go, shape it, come up with the ideas. They're diverse. You want a multicultural church. You want to reach the nations. You want to reach a large demographic and not just one isolated pocket. Man, you have people from all different walks of life, socioeconomic statuses, races, and whatnot. And they're numerous. Like I said, 21 million. So because of who they are. Second, because of when they are. Age 18 to 25 are some of the most formative years of a person's life besides the first 5 years. It's in this stage that they're basically going to determine who they are, who they're going to be, and what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. So, man, if you can get in there and shape them with a gospel framework, huge formation, spiritual formation possibilities there. Also, because of when, or where they are, rather, they are at the epicenter of ideas and innovation. These are the future culture shapers of North America. Thousands of diverse students, all in the same life situation, and never again will they be as connected in community as they are now. And the sending capacity for the college is unreal. They have freedom from parental control, and yet many are financially supported by parents or by scholarships, and they get regular breaks, and they are great for mission trips. So the culture analysis, there's no question of the significance of the college campus when it comes to culture. Going on to the historical perspective, how the campus has been engaged in the past. A lot. Going back to the Reformation, you can see what Wittenberg had on Martin Luther, and how he had an influence on those universities, especially in Germany, that spread his ideas. Going to the early 19th century, you have Samuel Mills, part of the Haystack Five, college students who got rained out for their prayer meeting, so they went to this haystack, prayed that God would provide opportunities for them to go overseas, and they started the first foreign missionary activity in North America, mission boards that eventually sent out Adoniram Judson. You go 80 years later, after the Haystack movement, in the late 19th century, early 20th century, you get the student volunteer movement, the mobilization of thousands of college students to go overseas. Their motto was the evangelization of the world in this generation. And then going on to about the 1950s, really the formation of Campus Crusade, Navigators, BSU, all kinds of parachurch ministries that came to fit the need of the Jesus movement. And now, here in the 21st century, we have collegiate church planting. Churches being planted on underreached campuses all around North America to reach college students for Christ and connect them to a church body. So, going on to the fourth quadrant, we're going to break it up into 4 parts: reach, connect, discipleship, and mobilize or send. So how do people hear the gospel on campus? This is reach. This is our first one. We're going to talk about how collegiate church planting really even works. So first off, there's really 4 ways we're going to look at how college students can hear the gospel on campus. Firstly, through missional communities. These are attractional events made up of 40 to 60 people, parties, sporting events, movie nights, philanthropy, such as Operation Christmas Child, something like that, something that students can get plugged into through community. That's an attractional event, man, because in the college world, attractional is missional. So huge opportunity there to meet students where they are and share their gospel. Secondly, telling stories, getting your story out there, video testimonials to just blast all over social media and saturate where these students spend most of their time on their phones, in the screens, making sure you get your name out there and in their radar, and motivating them, encouraging them, inspiring them with these videos and these life change of how Christ has changed their lives. Thirdly, relational evangelism. These students are in tight, closed communities, dorms, teams, clubs. So teaching students to neighbor and get involved in student campuses with intentionality in the dorms, in their SGAs and whatever, great opportunities to build relationships, to have gospel conversations. And lastly, but not least, cold evangelism. Straight up old-fashioned, go out there with the survey, go out there with Solarium, go out there and try to strike up gospel conversations that actually work. Students want to tell you what they believe it or not. So this is how students would hear the gospel and how to spread the gospel on the campus. So second part of our strategic plan, connect. How do people plug into your church? Well, like I said before, you have to keep in mind attractional is missional. So everyone's looking for a place to connect in college. That's one of the whole reasons they went. To get a degree is great, but they really want to connect and make friends and be in community. So recruitment for this context is simple and quick, and the key to it is Welcome Week. Welcome Week is crucial in engaging new crops of freshmen that come in every year, and within the first 30 years, or the first 30 days of the semester, they will already have decided who they're going to be, what club they're going to be in. So it's crucial for a collegiate church plant to be there and be present and be active and be engaging during those first 2 weeks of school. Also, you got to make your ministry sticky. Retreats, fall retreats for these freshmen, student leadership opportunities, getting students plugged in to ownership of your ministry, and an on-campus presence, being in their radar, are keys to moving students from consumers to participants to producers. So looking at the third leg of our strategic plan, how do people grow? We see how they hear the gospel. We see how they're connected. How do we grow them? What do we do with them once they're connected? And really, discipleship in collegiate church plants happen in a context of life on life and small groups. That's where it's seen that it thrives the best. And all those two things pointing directly to growing a relationship with God, with other believers, and with non-believers, not creating a holy huddle, but being very intentional about telling them to be missional where they're at. So other ways of growing folks in collegiate ministries, collegiate churches, leadership development, more formal training and programs, getting them plugged in. They're going to get these degrees that they want to excel in their vocation. So giving them solid leadership things that they can apply to life, but also apply to the church. And also volunteer team ministry, giving them an opportunity to live out what's being taught to them, what they're learning, and serving their church and their community. Fourthly is multiply. How do people get sent out of college churches, collegiate churches? Well, really, it's quite a natural rhythm. They get a fall break, they get a semester break, they get a spring break, they get a summer break. Natural rhythms for short-term mission trips on those breaks and long-term in those summers. A lot of these students, they have the money. In a sense, they're getting scholarships. They're still supported, so they can go and take a week off their job, or miss Thanksgiving with their family that year. So super ready, mobile, easy to mobilize group of people who are desperate to get out there and share the gospel. So not only are they easy people to send out on the mission field, but they're naturally compelled to be involved in planting wherever they settle post-college. Great launch teams that are prepped in college to be sent out when they graduate to go get new jobs, or to be encouraged to stick around and be a part of that church. So there's this natural rhythm of they're coming in and going out, and hopefully they go out ready to plant or be involved in a plant or be missional wherever they go, in whatever context they go in after college. Also, college students are much more likely to receive financial support for missions. They're broke, they're college students, they have good connections back home, people want to support them. So the last 30 seconds, let's talk about some objections to church planning, collegiate church planning. People usually ask sustainability. Well, obviously you have to do a lot of support raising for staff. You operate in a smaller budget, and about multi-generational. This is a very arrogant church made up of 18 to 25-year-olds. How does that work? Well, surprisingly, they can be multi-generational of students who stick around after college and actually raise their families in these churches. So I hope you guys are encouraged to go and learn a little bit more about collegiate church planning, and you see more of it on your radar in the future. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.